What's up, beautiful people? My name is Ronnie. This is Waffle Talk. Welcome to the show. You saw the title card for the day. We're going to talk about Sha'Carri Richardson and disappointment and accountability in the Black community. But let me welcome you first. Thank you to those of you who showed up. Oops, wrong button. At one point, I had, let's say, I saw 5 people watching. So thanks for those who tuned in, waited for me, whatever the case may be. Thanks for your support. You continue watching. Thank you for the Cashapp donations. People are actually sending me stuff. I didn't think that was going to be a thing. But today I wanted to do a show because tomorrow's, as much as Black people, like to say we don't do stuff, like it's 4th of July. We're going to be out doing stuff. And I'm going to be out doing stuff as well. And so I wanted to give you guys a show tonight so I don't miss another week. I'm trying to be consistent. I'm trying to, get my stride going. You see the title card and how it's been updated. I've been kind of really focusing on trying to but improve the brand. Let's say that. We live in a society now where branding is like the thing to do. You have to make yourself, you have to develop your brands. And so when it comes to YouTube, no exception, doing a thing. All right. I don't really have anything in men's news today. Nothing's really come up. I should have done some research. Maybe. I would listen to a review of Fatherhood, Kevin Hart's movie. Good movie. It was a little disjointed sometimes for me. I gave it a 3.5. Good film. Nick Cannon's on his 7th kid, so he's Genghis Khan-ing this thing up. And what else? That's about it. Oh, I didn't mention this before, but I didn't mention this before. But a couple of weeks ago, I made an appearance on a podcast called Ooh All the Feels, where me and another person named Ronnie were discussing dating, relationships, and things of that nature. And of course, in these day and times, we got to Kevin Samuels talk. I posted a short video of that on my, not short video, it's probably an hour long, but I posted a video of that on my YouTube page at Waffle Talk Ronnie. And we basically had a conversation at that point where it was brought up the stereotype of broke dick being the best dick. So we discussed that amongst some other things going on. If you hear some screeching, it's probably from outside. People do donuts in the parking lot next door all the time. It's wild. Anyway, I shared that link to the episode before. I'll share it again. No big deal to me. I enjoyed doing the podcast, and actually I talked to Ronnie on the side, and eventually we're going to come and collaborate on some things. He's a fitness dude, and he has an opinion too. So it was a good conversation between me and him. I really wanted to continue because honestly, I enjoyed doing it, but I felt like I only talked maybe 20% of it. And most of it was Ronnie had a lot to say. And then Andrea had a lot to say. And I'm just a chill dude. We were in there having fun drinking. But when I get my liquor in my system, I'm kind of relaxed. I may say some stupid shit every now and again. But I just chill. And I just sit in the cut. Don't want to argue with nobody. Don't have energy for it. So I just kind of sat back in the cut. So hopefully maybe I can get a conversation with both of them at some point individually, and we can rock out like that. It was asked in the chat what I'm drinking. And I am drinking real plain and simple today. This is Jack Daniels and my favorite mixer, Sprite. People go for Jack and Coke. I'm not really a dark taste person. So Crown and Sprite, Hennessy and Sprite, Jack and Sprite. If I prefer Sprite to dark mixers. I like the sweet taste. All right. Let's see other things going on. No channel updates for real. Just remember to go add Waffle Talk Ronnie on YouTube. The link is in the chat if you want to join in on the conversation. And we'll get more into that a little later, just on what it is. Don't forget to get the likes up. I got 5 people watching right now. It'd be wonderful if everybody can give me a like. They're free. And even if there are a few of you, it still helps just a little bit because hive mentality or hive theory, right? Everybody sees everybody else doing it. They're going to join in it too because they don't want to feel left out. So if you can get the likes up, that'd be fantastic. It takes you a split second. Even I was one of those people who I would watch videos all the time and I didn't hit the like button. But nowadays I do that a bit more. Not sure why, but it's harmless really until that algorithm kicks in and then it starts showing you stuff and you're like, I wasn't thinking about this, but this video was useful. But go ahead and like the video. Like the video. All right. So let's talk about Sha'Carri. Sha'Carri Richardson. Sha'Carri Richardson is a beautiful young woman, in my opinion. I don't think that she's too masculine. I don't really understand I understand what it's about. Some guys don't want to see their girls all muscular and ripped up and stuff. That's understandable. You like what you like. It is what it is. I'm looking for, where is it? I'm looking for a specific thing, but I don't see it. Everybody likes what they like, and that's fine. She's not too masculine for me. She's pretty cool. I like a woman who's in shape. I like a woman who is. Let's pop this up here. See what happens. All right. I like a woman who's in shape. I like a woman who can, keep up with her health. That shit turns me on, man. And maybe it's like wishful thinking, like, man, I want to be that someday. But like, I like a fit woman. But anyway, Sha'Carri Richardson. She was an Olympic. Well, she was a track star at LSU from Dallas. She went to LSU, did her thing, got to the Olympic trials, and she dusted her competition. And she went to hug her grandma and cried and stuff. Come to find out that she lost her mom a week prior to the competition. She found out through somebody. That a reporter that her mom had passed away, and then she decides that she's going to go home and she's going to go to Oregon. She's going to grieve, and she's smoking marijuana, cannabis. Marijuana is not a real word. Cannabis. So she decides she's going to smoke the cannabis. She gets tested. She gets popped by the U.S. anti-doping agency, who acts by the rules of the World Doping Agency. And she receives a 90-day suspension that was lowered to 30 days because she agreed to go through the treatment program, because their immediate response to popping for THC is 3 months. But they say if you go through a program, you can get it lowered to 1 month. So Sha'Carri Richardson did the program. She did the program. She got her 1 month. She went on today this morning, whatever it is. And she apologized. She acknowledged that she was wrong. She knew what she was doing. She had a lapse in judgment. And I don't blame her, because we've all been there. When people pass away, we definitely do some uncharacteristic things we may never have thought about before. We may take some risks that we've never thought about or that never crossed our mind, but things happen, right? However, she was still under the rules. She got popped and she got suspended. And that's what's supposed to happen. But then I wake up on yesterday morning, July 2nd, and Black Twitter is telling people that Sha'Carri should still race, that she should still race, that it's just weed. You let them play, or you let her play, you let her run, whatever. She was grieving, coming up with all kinds of excuses, and it really boggled my mind at how the community responded. Yes, she broke a rule, and we feel bad for her, but she broke a rule. And why the black community, it seems to me, are trying to rescue her. And it really tells me a lot about what we see as accountability, or what we think about accountability. She messed up. She should suffer the consequences. Whether it's weed or whatever, black people are trying to find some kind of excuse as to why she should still run. It's just weed. It's not a performance enhancing drug. She did it in a place where it's legal, so she didn't break the law. That doesn't matter when she broke the rules of an international committee. If it was the state of Oregon or LSU suspending her, you might have an argument because weed is legal in the state of Louisiana, or recreational, about to be, but she's still under the NCAA. So nothing in America suspended her except the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency, who acts on behalf of the World Anti-Doping Agency. So why is it that black people, and I say us because we're the only ones who really are making a fuss about this. The news is, but like black people are really up in arms about this. Why is it that we feel the need to save her from what she did to herself? We can change and worry about the rule later. Hell, they fought so hard to get inclusion for the trans community that it actually is happening. There is a born biological male participating in weightlifting, of all things. If you wanted cannabis out of the Olympics that bad, it would have started with Michael Phelps. But she did it to herself. She knew what she was doing. What I want to do now, I see you in there, Mark. I'm going to bring Mark in. This will be pretty good conversation, I believe. Who is Laurel Hubbard? You got to clue me in on that one. I'm going to bring Mark in here. Unmute yourself, Mark, if you're there. But we're going to wait for Mark, put you back in the green room, brother. All right. So, all right, he said, give me a sec. All right. So, when I wake up, I see all these things, and it confuses me because she did it. But for some reason, we want to find a reason to protect her from feeling hurt and disappointment. And that's a huge reason. Oh, Laurel is the New Zealander weightlifter who was biologically a male but is now a trans woman. But why is it that we can't hold her accountable? Or she was held accountable, but why do black people want to rescue her from her accountability? I think people kind of understand that these things happen, but to me, and I'm a teacher, and I teach high school kids, and every year we have kids who are classified seniors, but then they blow everything from like junior year to senior year. I remember this kid one time in my sophomore class didn't do a thing. And every time you saw him in the hall, you saw him in the hallway skipping class. So he didn't go to class often, or he used the bathroom and went away for most of the class. And then when graduation comes, He's failed his classes from junior year. He's failed his class from senior year. He's not going to graduate. But what ends up happening? Here comes this child's parent, guardian, mother, whatever, and they come up to the school and they raise a fuss saying that their child needs to graduate. They're saying their child needs to graduate for doing nothing. For doing absolutely nothing. Now, Sha'Carri, I keep saying Sha'Carri. Sha'Carri, let me see. I'm just now noticing my Facebook page is not on public, so we're going to switch that to public so I can see these comments in the StreamYard. So if you left a comment before, I probably missed it. Sorry. Folks, Steven Smith, folks dogged out Arena the same way until she got that white dude from Reddit, then found themselves feeling hurt. Yeah, they're really hurt about Serena and her white guy. All right, Mark, are you there yet or no? All right, just send me a message when you're ready there. All right. So something I found earlier that I thought would be pretty interesting to share with everybody is that I looked up athletes who were suspended by the U.S. anti-doping agency. Oh, that's not good for the camera. Hold on, tag in here. Cut that out. I looked up athletes suspended by the U.S. Anti-doping agency, and I saw this list here, as I'm pretty sure a lot of people don't look stuff up. This list here says below is a listing of athletes who have received a sanction for a dope. Now, for those people who don't know the vocabulary, a sanction is like a punishment, some kind of ruling that was brought down upon somebody for a certain act, the consequence, let's say, who have received a sanction for doping violation under the World Anti-Doping Code, the Athletes International Federal Rules, and or the U.S. Olympics and Paralympic anti-doping policies, as well as the UFC anti-doping program. Basically, this is just a list of people who were suspended by the anti-doping agency. So, start the list off. We got Sha'Carri Washington, Richardson. Why do I keep saying Washington? Sha'Carri Richardson, track and field, cannabinoids, 1 month suspension, loss of results. And of course, then you see other people for weightlifting, Paralympic track and field. They got busted for doping. People are competitive. And that's one thing I think a lot of people who've never played sports don't understand is how hyper competitive some people can be. And the fact that doping is going to happen. And to find it ridiculous that people will lie, people are questioning the agencies when people do suspicious things when it comes to doping. Like, for example, and I'll show you earlier, Brianna McNeil, who was a hurdler, was suspended for a few years. She got like a 4 or 5 year ban. 5-year ban because she did some iffy stuff with the paperwork before her doping test. Like, she missed a doping test and then messed up, and then she scratched out a date on the paperwork to make it the correct date or whatever date she said it was. And then the doping agency was like, that's fishy. And so they gave her a 5-year ban. But the 5-year ban came down because that was her second offense for doping. The first offense she had actually was failure to show like 3 times. Like, she didn't show up to her test like 2 or 3 times. So when it comes later that she had a baby ejection and she was filing the paperwork, scratched out a date, changed it, and they thought that was suspicious because she didn't show up to that that test either. This is not an attack on black women. All right. Maybe I should have introduced that part first, because there's one thing that I failed to mention. I got to really work on my organization skills. Sometimes I just go on a rant. Sorry about that. I kind of put this together a little last minute, just because I was debating on whether or not to do it today or later. So I'm doing it today. But let's start over. Not start over, but go back. So this is the post I made on my Facebook page. The comments, of course, for some reason, of all my 20-some hundred friends on Facebook, I get a lot of traction for things I say, which is always baffling to me, because I figure I always say something that's pretty straightforward and plain. But this is a post I made, and it says here, Sha'Carri Richardson broke a rule established by an international committee. She's suspended for 30 days, which means she'll miss her 100-meter race. She'll miss her 100-meter race in Tokyo, but a few days later, there is the 4x1 relay, and there's a chance that she might get involved there. Her record-breaking performance could be erased. She acknowledged she knew the rules, and she did it anyway, and she accepts the consequences, even if she doesn't like it. Black America's upset she's been held accountable. This isn't racism. It's not because she's black. This isn't racial sexism. This isn't because she's a black woman. Y'all keep saying they're trying to tear a black woman down. When she ran that race, they gave her this awesome story. Your mom passed away. You ran a race. You go into the Olympics. You're achieving your dreams. You were first in America, which means you're probably going to be first when the other countries come. Like, they were trying to give her the story. And now you think they want to tear her down for some reason? That's crazy. She's an athlete. She broke the rules. She got caught. And yet, yes, the stigma of cannabis in America isn't as bad as it was, but it's still federally illegal. It is federally illegal. There's still a Schedule I drug by the DEA. The U.S. is kind of still fighting or holding on to the war on drugs. It's going to happen. People are going to still think it's a bad thing. But it's either way, it's illegal. We can't do it federally in this country. Hell, they'll even send in the DEA if the cannabis collection is big enough, the shipment is big enough, the DEA will bust them. Like, it's still illegal. And let's see. And it's a legal substance in many parts of the world. Another map that I had found. We're talking about. I'm going to stop sharing that real quick. I'll share another screen with you. All right. Found this map the other day. All right, we're going to bring this up. This is a map of the legal status of cannabis possession for recreational use around the world. This map shows the blue states where are legal. The blue places are legal. The yellow states are illegal, but they don't really care. They decriminalized it. The pinkish, reddish thing is illegal, but often unenforced. And then red is, of course, illegal. Do you see how many countries around the world still have it illegal? Right? You got Canada, parts of the United States. So not even the whole country of the U.S. This country, whatever that is, South Africa, I think that's Lesotho, is illegal, but they don't care. And then the middle of Australia, but the ends of it where people actually live are illegal. Except this little piece right here. I think that's Sydney, or I don't know. I haven't did geography in a while. But the point is, it's illegal in most countries around the world. It doesn't matter if she did it in a place where it was legal. This is a international governing body that has their different stances on what cannabis is and what it means. Just because the United States thinks this is great, not great thing, but they accept it more, doesn't mean that they're going to accept it more in India, right? Doesn't mean that they're going to accept it more in Mongolia, right? Doesn't mean that they're going to accept it in, I think that's Angola, right? So yeah, it's cool in the US, but it's not cool everywhere else. And when you're competing against other countries, you have to play on this, you have to be on the same level playing field. All right. And I see you, Mark. I'm gonna get to you in a hot second. All right. And so let's go back to this picture. Let's go back to the status real quick. Real quick, and I'm gonna get Mark in here. To finish the status off, it's just weed for many of us, but the world is not us. The world is not the United States. For Black people who are trying to say like we are disenfranchised or we need to, for people who are like Black people who are so anti-America, that's a very Americanist concept. Like, oh, weed is fine here, so it should be fine everywhere else. It's very Americentric. That's how you know I'm going back to school. I made up a word. It's very Americentric of people to say like, well, it's cool here, so the whole world should think it's cool. When you say, oh, it's just weed, somebody in somebody next door doesn't even think it's weed. Oh, my cousin would smoke weed all his life and it ruined him. Right? But if you go to like, I don't know, the Ukraine, they may think differently of it. It is what it is. And at the end of, can somebody give her a 9-volt battery for that smoke alarm? Why are you on a morning show, national television, in the house, and your smoke alarm is beeping? You should have went outside on the porch, patio, wherever you were, but you do not go on national TV with your smoke alarm beeping. I've never seen that in my life. I've never seen that on the news ever. But that's just me. It's okay. Them other countries don't like Black women. Yeah, they might not. Sounds like colonizer talk to me. It's okay with us, so everyone else should do it too. Yeah, just because America can do it doesn't mean everybody else should be okay with it. Everybody has their own thing. So let me go ahead, Mark. You ready? Just nod your head or something. All right. I'm gonna bring Mark in here. This be a pretty good conversation because he can actually kind of identify with Sha'Carri in a way. So this should be good. Everybody, welcome, Mark. What's up, Mark?
What's going on? I was waiting for the long applause to end. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate all the adulation, though.
No problem, man. I actually I found a setting that I had to change because it's like if you hit, I had to change it to where, because before it was you hit it, and then you hit it again and it would start over. This time it's hit it and you stop.
Hey man, you living and you learning. That's what's up, man.
Right. Every day is something. Every day is another day to learn something new.
For all of us.
Yeah. So what's going on, brother? How are you?
I'm in great spirits, man. I was sore, so I had to get some alcohol and some Bengay for my elbows, man. I'm past 30 and shit, so y'all gotta forgive me. Y'all gotta forgive me.
Right.
But I don't know if you had spoke on it because I had trouble getting right back in to hearing the broadcast. But I think a lot of people were, as we would say, caping for her because we just want representation. That's all. And to see a Black woman win, that's always a great thing. So we don't want, I guess, people just don't want that taken away from them, to see a Black woman winning on a grand scale of things. And anything that we could do, even if it's not I'm trying to think of whatever the opposite of equality is, even if it's not fair. Even if it's not fair and and just, you know what I'm saying? If we can find some way to bend a rule where she can still compete because we feel like she can win, then we want to do that.
Yeah.
But what's right is what's right, and I'm proud of her for holding herself accountable and not taking away excuses.
Oh, for
Um,
sure.
as lots of people have known at this point, I've lost my mother, and I don't
Around
smoke
the
or
same
drink or
time, yeah.
yeah, so
Well, within a week or two
give
of
or
her.
take. But you know what I'm saying? One thing that my ex-girlfriend told me, man, and this is probably one of the two biggest things she's ever done for me, man. She told me is you can't tell me how to feel. And that
Right.
always stuck with me. And I'm like, you know what, man, people are saying that they not, they disappointed in her and all that. I'm like, bro, if you ain't lost your moms, man, you really can't, you don't really have the authority to kind of give your opinion on that, number one, and then number two, you can't tell her how to feel, you know what I mean? But she
Right.
doesn't look to me like someone that doesn't smoke though. It look like something that she kind of regularly does, you know what I
Yeah. Tell me why.
mean?
My coworker hit me
Yeah,
up, and he hit me up in my inbox, and he's like, "That wasn't that girl first time smoking.
hell no, bro, hell no, man.
She she from Dallas. She I think she went to Dallas Carter too, and that school was supposed to be in the hood or something.
I mean,
But and
we
she's
not
21.
stereotyping. Yeah, just look at all the clues, man. Look at all the visual proof you have. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I
Yeah.
mean, it's just it would be more of a surprise to me if she did not smoke. Uh,
Yeah.
to put it like that, man. But salute to her, man. She's doing some great things, and she's still young, which is like you
Yep.
said, man. Why she got a smoke alarm going on national television? You know
Yeah,
what I
change
mean?
that
But
shit, man. That's like one of my biggest pet peeves in dating is the smoke alarm, man. Like,
really,
yeah, man. Like I remember, like I will tell chicks,
who
like,
thinks
yo, I
who
will
thinks
come
like
change
that?
your
Like
battery. Sorry,
I look like who thinks like that, man? Like that's the one thing. Like that's
me.
like my deal breaker. Like man, your smoke alarm go off. I can't date
That's
you no more.
yeah, because to me that just screams. To me, that kind of screams unaccountability.
Irresponsibility.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah, like or an irresponsibility. Like, how do you ignore that? I can't sleep like that, so I
I
never
agree.
spend the night. But
Right.
I never spend a night at the crib. Like change your battery. It doesn't like get a ladder. But I know most chicks don't want to do that kind of stuff. They don't want to like grab a ladder, reach up there, and like replace stuff. That's not
That's not
like
hard
we
though.
say the other day. It's not hard, but like as we said the other day, they reserve the energy for things they want to do, and that ain't something they want to do. So, but I
Philly.
was gonna say you reminded me to say this. I am actually I'm happy for her and her accomplishment, Sha'Carri Richardson. Um, I can't take any of that from her. She had her adversity. I wonder why they keep saying like her biological mother all the time though.
Yeah, I'm like, was she
Like that's
adopted
weird.
or
Yeah,
you
like she
know?
was adopted or she didn't know her, and so, like there are a lot of scenarios that went through my head for why.
Hmm.
But it was just strange to me that they kept saying my biological. She kept saying my biological mother, my biological mother. Like people
Yeah,
who are adopted say shit like that.
exactly.
So
That
or grandma taking
or
care of you or whatever.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, regardless of which though, one thing I'll say is, you if you had any sort of relationship with your mother, you know what I'm saying, even if it was bad, I
Mm-hmm.
would assume because my relationship with my mother wasn't bad, but I would assume just from observation, you know what I'm saying, if you still lost them, you would still feel a certain way as long as like they wasn't straight up antagonistic towards you. You know what I'm saying, a
Oh, for
bulk of your
sure.
life. You know what I'm saying, you will still feel a certain way when they're gone. So who knows? Like
I
I said,
I
who
agree.
knows how she feels.
I was even thinking like if she was adopted
Mm-hmm.
or she found and her mother just wasn't raising her. Um
Who
and maybe
knows?
the relationship might have been a little chaotic or whatever. Maybe she kind of felt like, there was a loss of hope of reclaiming it, or like she didn't get the chance to rebuild it. Like that kind of stuff was running through my head.
That's
Um,
common. That's common. I
yeah,
think that's why a lot of people, take their grieving process very hard. Everybody tells me, saying it's not going to get any easier and all this, and I'm kind of feeling like, I mean, yeah, it's tough, man, but I don't really feel like it's a big burden on me, what I'm saying, emotionally.
Yeah.
But I mean, but everyone is different, what I'm saying? It still sucks. I mean, like I said the other day, I made a post with my baby photos and I was typing and I started crying. That was the first time I had even cried in like maybe 3 weeks or something like that. So
Yeah.
I mean, it comes and goes, but I don't get super emotional about it. But for people that go through it, God bless them, and I hope that I can lend them some strength. But
Right.
uh, for people that criticizing this young lady, what I'm saying, for smoking, I mean, look, man, like you said, she's 21. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, we can't expect her to have the kind of wisdom that we would have at 30,
Well, no,
automatically.
no, but the thing for me though is, well, for one, I kind of have a better idea of what she might be because this is going to be my 7th year teaching, and
Mm,
so 3 years ago, Sha'Carri would have been a senior, right, at my
mm,
school. So just knowing what I know of how kids are these days, I
mm.
think there's a very, like, a lot of kids don't know consequence, or they
That's
don't
true.
think about consequences. They just do stuff, and then whatever happens, they'll just deal with it. They don't
Mm,
they don't have any foresight. And so
mm.
I think the thought may have crossed her mind. Um, but I think, as most kids her age, she probably went for the emotional foundation first. Like, she went for the emotional response first. And I've it's very unfortunate. Like, I've seen a couple of posts that say like, "Oh, people don't have their compassion. She lost her mom." I'm like, no, we understand that she lost her mom. Like, and
She
like
still broke
I
the
think
rule.
yeah, like I said earlier, we've all been in that place where we've lost somebody close to us, and we probably did something uncharacteristic, or we've had that like fuck it feeling. You know what I mean? Like, we've been there
Absolutely.
before, so it's not hard to understand how she got there.
Hmm.
But that is a major risk to take, because track athletes, they don't get paid like that, and so your money's coming in through endorsements at the Olympics. And plus, that's a huge stage to be on. Not everybody gets to do that.
Yeah.
So I mean, I feel bad for her. Like, she lost her mom and everything. I feel bad that she's feeling bad about this opportunity. But I think one thing that we kind of learned very early on, um, especially as guys,
Hmm.
is we got to eat crow early. Like, you got to eat crow sometimes. Like, sometimes, what's there's an expression I heard somebody say about, sometimes you got to eat shit, but something. I forgot what it is.
It sounds familiar, but I can't quite put my finger on it. But basically, yeah, you gotta go through crap to get the gold, kind of. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I'll I think I found it. But
Hmm.
oh no, I didn't. But I always tell people, like, progress is a process. You know what I mean?
It
Like,
absolutely is.
you gotta you gotta go through some shit to get to where you want to go. And, like, I mean, we know
Absolutely.
as 30-year-olds, like, you know, there's a process, and like nothing's gonna come easy. Like, you gotta work to get that shit, especially as you get older, because the things that you want as an adult take a little bit longer to get, you know.
Yes, indeed.
Um
In real life,
so
man, not just social media. In real life, it really
in
does.
real life.
It does take some time, and you have to be patient with yourself. And um, this is a good experience for her. I mean, if she could reframe it, I mean, she has to understand, her position. Like I said, she's 21. Regardless of which, man, it's plenty of people at 21 that have been in similar positions of stardom and fame and
Hmm.
status. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And she has to realize she is a role model. whether she wants to be so or not. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah. When you
you're
put yourself on a stage
inspiration.
like that,
Hmm.
yeah,
And that's a great thing for her and for young women, especially of color, women in general, but especially of color, to look up to her, man. And like I said, she just has to, she'll deal with it, man. Like I said, she's young, and by her taking accountability, that gives me the perception that she'll be fine.
yeah.
She'll be fine.
You know, she'll be okay. I mean, especially it's 30 days and you still get a chance to run the four by. I mean, there's a possibility you still get a chance to run the 4x1. You may miss your individual race, but I think sometimes team races can be just as significant.
And I'm
Um,
not a weed smoker at all, or no, or really study that at all. But somebody was saying, man, just the fact that she had weed lungs and still beat them like that, man, is more impressive. I'm like,
man,
hey, you got a point.
that kind of takes me into the marijuana is an enhancement, a performance enhancing drug
Hmm.
conversation because I saw that a lot. And I would say that based on the things that I've heard from professional athletes in America,
Hmm.
I would have to disagree. I think it might be performance enhancing. Like it may not necessarily act as a steroid and make your muscles stronger and everything else. But from what I've heard from athletes, many of them couldn't focus without it. Many of them didn't feel right if they like. I was listening to a story of some ex NBA player, was it Mookie Blaylock, said he was
Perhaps.
drunk and high most of his games. And
Perhaps.
Mookie Blaylock was a solid role player.
Yeah, great defensive player from what I remember. I wasn't watching the NBA back then, but I was watching
Shit,
it's
Matt
dudes on
Barnes.
you. You said Matt Barnes. What about him?
Matt Barnes.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, they got a podcast called All the Smoke. So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. But well, what I was saying was kind of irrelevant at this point. It was more
Uh,
about Mookie Blaylock. It was a
Go
YouTube
ahead.
series that I frequently watch called Sudden Growth, and they
Stunning.
had
That's
mentioned
where I
him.
saw it.
Oh, okay, yeah, 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 yeah,
That's where I
yeah,
saw it.
yeah,
I like his channel.
yeah. He dope, bro. I like how see, it's kind of nostalgic because I'm like, damn, I remember dude. You know what I mean? Or dang, what
Yeah,
happened to him? I seen his name, and then all of a sudden he was just out the league. Like, what happened? So it's
yeah.
always good to watch that.
I think the one that got me hooked was and this is bird walking, whatever. The one that got me hooked was I watched his video on Salim Stoudemire, who I remember from the University of
Left-handed.
Arizona, left-handed, shooting threes out of nowhere.
I remember him
And
on the Atlanta Hawks.
yeah, and I remember thinking to myself, like, yo, this dude's shooting the lights out. He gonna be cold in the NBA. And then he disappeared. And I saw his video and I'm like, oh, maybe that's what happened to him, because for people who don't watch, he goes through like these different things that he thinks kept these people from being great. So like number one All American high school, number one McDonald's high school All American who got to the NBA and flaked out after 3 years. What happened? That kind of
Mhm.
thing.
And he gives three different reasons why this particular person's growth was stunted. He also has it on music, rappers, singers as well. If you weren't familiar.
Oh, I didn't know that. I
So
did not know that.
for instance, he's had some with Bow Wow, Lauren Hill, Joel Santana, Beanie Siegel, Memphis Bleak,
Really?
Dame Dash,
I'm
just to
gonna have to
name a
try that.
few.
I'm gonna have to
Absolutely.
check that out.
Yeah. But
So
I was gonna ask a question. It was in relation to I don't know if it's completely related to this because we're talking about accountability.
it's all right.
However,
I'll find a way to tie it in.
word. But I think that post that I posted earlier about her this not claiming Lil Nas X, saying if you if you like him, don't follow me. I
Yeah.
I definitely want to have some discourse about that. I found that interesting.
Oh yeah. So
Yes.
for people who haven't seen it, somebody went through Sha'Carri's Twitter
Hmm.
and and they it was actually a couple of I forgot what the other one was. That was the one that stuck out
Really,
to me.
it
There
was
was
more than
another
one.
one. Yeah, it wasn't about Lil Nas X though. Um,
Okay.
but she said in a post from March of this year,
Hmm.
if you support Lil Nas X, please unfollow me. And apparently, and again, things that come up, and I think these are it's a part of things that come up that people make important, but people like they're not important to me, right?
Yes.
So she's apparently queer.
Hmm.
I don't give a shit. Don't care if she's queer or not. But I swear to God, if something bad was happening, it's like it's because she's a black queer woman. No, it's because she anyway. But it's interesting because she's queer and I mean, Lil Nas X is he a little bit more than queer, and they're apparently in the same demographic, so they hating on each other. But there's also the possibility too is the devil part of it that she's just like I ain't dealing with it. You
Yeah.
know, she seems
That's
to
what
be if
people
she
have been saying because they can't. Apparently, the video came out like around that time, so that's what people are speculating
yeah.
that. Yeah.
So she made the tweet on March 29th, and the video was released on I think the 26th of March.
Okay. So yeah, yeah, it's
So it's
definitely
just in time.
has. Yep. Yep. Has to be in relation to that.
Yeah.
What I found
So
funny though was at least in the caption of the post that I shared was saying that the devil said something about the devil, and you had laughed at the what I said too, but said something about the devil's using her or something like that, like devil. She got all that talent, but the devil using her mouth or something like that. But I'm like, bro, this same dude that you're defending was dressed up as a demonic figure.
yeah,
Like, is that not hypocrisy or what?
man, I don't care. Look, I get so frustrated with people these days just because I guess I'm a little bit of a hypocrite though because I'm like, why do y'all like why does it care so much? like like
It's just entertaining
it is
filler.
entertaining.
It's entertaining
Yeah.
filler. Very
That's one of the
superfluous conversation.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things about social media. I'm starting to realize in myself is that like I make fun of a lot of my kids for having like Snapchat memories and like can't sit still and stuff. I've always
Hmm.
been a bit of a fidgety kid, but I think social media, of course, has made it worse because we're like kind of, we got to always have something going,
Yeah,
um
unfortunately.
in order to function. It's a very interesting thing, and I wish I had enough patience to meditate, but I always feel like there's something to do, so I'll work out instead. Um,
Amen, brother. Amen.
but going, but I want to go back to her a little bit. Just, um, I don't know if you've, I mean, you probably seen it. Have you seen like what people have been saying about like letting her race and it's just weed and like basically just all these different excuses?
Yeah, I've seen stuff like that. No, the rules
I
are the
think,
rules, man. I mean,
yeah,
because if we granted, you know what I'm saying, we understand the scenario and all of that, man, but I mean,
yeah,
life is life, you know what I mean? Business don't care, business
yeah,
doesn't care, life doesn't care, your bills don't care.
nope,
Um, and like I said, if you're going to be lenient about this, then okay, you're going to have to be lenient about a lot of other things as well.
yeah.
And it just so happened to
That's
be unfortunate.
Yeah, that's kind of where my thought process goes. And I don't know if it's because it might be age, but like,
Hmm.
the older I get, the more I'm thinking about what this could mean for the future. So, or maybe it's
Hmm.
the Aquarian visionary part of me. But immediately when they said like, they should let her race, oh my God, her mom died. I'm like, wait a minute. So do you want them to add a death clause to these rules that they don't apply for However, because they can't put a number on how long people should grieve, right? Because if they did that, they're tyrannical. You can't tell somebody how long they need to grieve. So how long does this
God
person
do
need
it.
to grieve and not follow the rules? What if
Right.
like this Ukrainian power lifter is like, and how far down does the death get to go? What if it's like your fifth cousin on your mom's side, twice removed or whatever, but y'all just so happen to be like really close? Is that okay?
Right.
Like, what about
Yeah,
your best friend? You know what I mean? So,
it's too much to try to
well,
justify it, man.
yeah, because for me, I'm gonna finish this example, but like, um, that Ukrainian power lifter, fifth cousin on your mom's side, twice removed, dies.
Oh,
And
Jesus
let's
Christ.
just say it's 2021. Well, let's just every 4 years. So let's just say it's the first year after the Olympics, right? They
2025.
die. Yeah, let's just whatever. Let's say it's 2021, 2022 after the Olympics is over, your uncle dies. Whatever the case may be, right? That Ukrainian power lifter is then if we have a death clause, is exempt from the rules. So they're like pumping steroids, working out hard, eating all the creatine, like all the testosterone injections, whatever. And then they
Oh my
pop up
God.
like 6 months before the competition, and they're like, okay, I've grieved enough. Like, or maybe the day before. Like, how's that gonna work? I think what I think, and this may be because a lot of people who are saying shit have never played a sport before,
That's
but
true.
they don't understand the hyper competitiveness that opening those kind of doors will allow. Kind of like the transgender thing, right?
I was waiting on that. I was
Because
waiting on that.
the trans if for those people who are watching who don't know, there is a transgender powerlifter I mentioned earlier by the name of Laurel Hubbard. And so now that they're allowing transgender people to participate in the Olympics, like how far does it go? Because obviously they're not going to send any women to participate, any born women to participate in the male side of things, because the even the a woman transitioning to a man in a 100-meter dash is still gonna get dusted by the number 8 spot. Like, it just is what it is. But so they're definitely going to start sending men over into these women's competitions, and just, you remember those old stereotypes of like Russian like the Russian uh uh big Russian women who are like real masculine, or like if you ever watch Scary Movie Mrs. Man, the gym teacher, like that's going to be real.
I mean, this equality stuff, man, is really it is really promoting all of this, man. This blurred line of no gender roles, androgyny, all of this stuff, man. And I mean, this is what equality is, man. You know, women. I think it was more so for women to try to, get equal pay and be able to do things that men do and all of this stuff when they wanted to apply. But it's just like, okay, now you got these transgender women that are posing as no, yeah, that are posing as women that are born as men. They are going to do a couple of things. They could take their men. You know what I'm saying? They're probably going
Yeah,
to end up taking their men, exposing their men, you know what I'm saying, as living double lives. I know of one that has, well, I don't know if it was a transgender, but I know of someone that
that's
has lived a
wild.
double life before. He's since passed away,
Right.
which is crazy, bro. I didn't even know that, but someone told. But then now you have this, so it's just like, okay, this is not fair. You know what I'm saying? You have man strength, and you're competing in a woman's competition.
Right.
Like, okay, I get that you guys want representation. I get that we shouldn't discriminate, but you guys should have your own competition at that
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, because I mean, think about just think about professional sports in America, right? Like the WNBA, nobody watches that shit. Like,
Dog, just imagine if it's
sorry
a
to say,
transgender man
Joanna
up in
man
there, dog.
everywhere. Yeah,
Dog, he
Joanna
gonna
man
be
everywhere.
dunking on all the women, bro.
Like, I don't think when people ask about that stuff or like they applaud like trans people being involved in like the gender sport that they want to be involved in, I don't think they really understand how hyper competitive men can be. Like, if Barry Bonds was willing to make his head big as hell to hit more home runs than anybody else in baseball history, what makes you think that a man won't switch his gender to be first place, to win a first place trophy in a competition?
You gotta
I,
be very misogynistic to go through all of that, man.
oh yeah, that's the ultimate misogyny right there. But the thing is, it's happening, and I think people, especially because in sports like Fallon Fox from the MMA, I'm not gonna speculate on why he did it, but like when you think about those situations, it's like, what did you really get into it for? Like, you love to fight, but then you're like, I feel like a girl.
You could have just
Okay.
fought as a man, bro.
I was like, but yeah, you still got your boy parts. That's the thing that's really that irritates me. Anyway, um, man, I just got a bunch of my Facebook comments in for some reason. Uh, 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 uh something I missed, but I don't know. It just the whole so, and that's another thing that came up too. It's like she can't smoke weed, but y'all can let a transgender person into the Olympics. Well, apparently they wanted transgender people to participate more than they wanted weed smokers. So look who won
Well,
out.
another thing about the weed thing, and I just read this in comments. I don't know, but they said it's not so much that it was a performance enhancing drug, but it masked potential performance enhancing drugs in your system or something like that. I don't know. Don't
Now,
quote me.
now that part I haven't heard. I was thinking about it more along the lines of, um, when I hear athletes talk about how they use it.
Uh
You remember Royce White?
huh. NBA player. He's in a big league
Yeah,
now. Yep.
yeah, had his like bouts of anxiety, like real bad. Like, in order for him to calm down, I would assume that weed would have helped.
That's what
Um,
I would have thought. I know it kind of sedates and calms you down, and they really
yeah,
used it for war veterans that had PTSD.
right. So if it helped him calm, because his anxiety was really bad. Like, dude, you
Hmm
playing basketball in front of thousands of people every day, like, and people know who you are, and you 6'8". Like, that's a horrible that's a horrible situation to have
And you're a
performance
black man, bro.
anxiety, and you're a black man, right?
And
That's a
you're a
horrible
black
situation to
man.
have social anxiety. But I'm thinking to myself, like, if he had weed to help him calm his nerves, wouldn't don't you think that might have made him a better basketball player? And you kind of got to think about that when it comes to other athletes and doing that kind of thing. Like, I understand the Olympics, they want everybody to be kind of like on the same level. That's why they
Hmm
have these rules with these limits of where your chemicals can be, because they want everybody to be even. But I would think that if some countries it's illegal and some countries it's legal, the other countries where it's illegal would say like, oh, they have an advantage. Because even with all the benefits that we know weed has,
hmm
like, we can still say like it can enhance performance. Again, all these different athletes saying that they needed it to focus. Like,
I
I don't
mean,
see how
that
you could
definitely
argue
is
that
an
it's not
advantage if naturally you can't focus. And granted, it doesn't help you make. It might not help them physically, but still, there is a mental advantage for them, in a sense, for them to have it based upon the way
absolutely.
what you're saying. So yeah.
Yeah, it is. But somebody had pointed out to me too that they also I'm not going to list all the drugs they name, but they also allow like Xanax and Adderall.
It's their rules, bro. They can allow what
I
they
say
want.
it's a rule. Big pharma wins every time. And it makes me wonder, and this is kind of again bird walking too. It made me think about like what do the rest of the countries around the world have against hemp? Because like you can grow it anywhere, but like I think I showed the map. Like only like what only like 5-10% of the world it's even legal. Like, that's nuts.
I don't know,
But
man. I
uh,
I have no idea. I don't smoke. I
Justin
do find that weird though.
Justin says it's sexist until we see a female to male trans people do well in the competition. Yeah, you won't see that. I'm trying to think of like maybe gymnastics, maybe figure skating, the luge, maybe. But yeah, no, I don't think
It's
there are
just
too
very
many.
delusional, man.
So what?
To me, it's very delusional, man, because trans people, and I guess if you consider like the term, I thought it was just if you switch your sex, but apparently, like Dwayne Wade's son can be a trans,
It's a
even though he didn't go through
yeah.
a
It's about how
complete
you feel.
transformation.
It's
But
about how
that's
you feel.
very fluid, though.
Yeah,
Like,
and
okay, dog,
apparently,
I feel like Omni Man, but I'm not that nigga, right? Like,
right. Well,
but I don't
well,
want to say that as a mockery, though, even though that
no,
was very
I
But
know
I'm
what you
just
mean.
saying though, that's just like okay, you can feel like anything, and as we know,
Bruh.
women feel the world; they don't see the world, so they
Yeah,
can feel like anything in the moment.
yeah, and I think that's one of the. I mean, for me, that's one of the things about. Um, that's one of the things about being trans. It's like from moment to moment, you could be whatever, and that's kind of unfair. Like,
I
and
know.
then it's a controlling thing too, because now every time I see you, I have to ask you what your pronouns are. Like, I have to bow down to you, right? Like, like I don't know the whole
That
trans
just
community
sucks,
is very
bro.
confusing because there's so much variance within it, and it's chaotic trying to figure it out. Like even when they try to explain to, because I've talked to a few people who are in that community or just very accepting of transgenders and everything, but like even in their community when they explain things, there's so much fluidity and so much chaos that I'm like, how do y'all even organize? Like y'all have y'all pride parades, and then that's about like how do y'all just accept anybody who just says like I don't feel like I was born in the right body? All right, cool. Like I don't know. And then it's five
That
percent of
that
the
doesn't
population, but still very loud population. It's
that
it's
doesn't
it's
seem like there's much structure there, and it's not,
there is none.
and it's not to insult them, but based upon what you're saying, like I said, there is no structure, and that's the whole thing, man. Like when I hear a person say, that they don't go by gender roles and all of that and all, like man, what structure is there? You can't
None.
build upon you have to build upon structure. Everything
Yeah.
has to have a foundation, and it has to
Well,
have a
you
strong foundation in order to be built upon.
the structure in our community disappeared when dads were outside of the home because that's what dad's supposed to be for. Mom's there to make you feel good and make your feelings better. She's not there to give you structure and guidance. When you feel bad, she makes you feel good. Not too many moms are really good at structure, but it's just the fact that now these days we kind of in most of those homes too. Because I know a couple of my students at my school who are non-black and they're trans, and a lot of those kids too. There's no structure in their home. They were like abused or whatever the case may be. It's always something very, very, very interesting. But just the fact that we don't look for structure. We don't accept structure. Everything is subjective and everybody's free to do what they want as long as they're not hurting anybody directly. You didn't kill anybody, great. That's all well and dandy. And that's going
True.
kind of going back to this too. It's kind of the whole situation with Sha'Carri. Like she didn't hurt anybody. Yeah, she still broke a rule. It's just she still
But she
broke the
broke
rule.
a rule. If it
And
was
then
a man, then and I hate to put I kind of don't. Fuck it. I kind of don't hate putting the gender into this. If it was a man, there wouldn't be as much remorse.
oh, so I'll actually on my like doing some research into this because I did do a little bit of research. I found a guy by the name of Christian Coleman who was a U.S. Olympic athlete suspended for 2 years because he missed his drug test. 2 years, missed the drug test. She failed it. So at least they gave her some credit for showing up. That was another thing too. As I'm going through so I looked up all of the sanctions and suspensions in all of these places. Oh, I'm sorry, in these athletes by the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency. And what I found is that Sha'Carri actually got off really light compared to a lot of people for the same offense. Oh, she got 30 days. It's people on this list who got 6 months to 2 years for weed.
Yeah, when I first seen the 30 days, I'm like, that's extremely lenient, and that's without even doing any research. I was just like,
Bro,
wow, that's not bad.
bro, you remember? I don't know about his first offense. I just remember his first major offense got him suspended for a season. Josh Gordon, the NFL wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, with the whole when Stephen A. Smith said lay off, stay off the weed.
The weed.
Yeah, that dude. Like that dude, he. When I first judged him, I was just like,
he's a fucking nut, nigga.
But like after hearing his story, his background, and everything, I'm like, yo, dude got some problems and needs some treatment. But like, nobody was around to hear his story. Nobody played the sad violin for him. You know what I mean?
Because he's a man, number one.
Because he's a man.
He's a black man at that.
A black man. And I hate I don't want to make this a race sexual issue because I don't think it really is. I think what happens is that I don't know if it's the fact that in our community we have this bad habit of trying to relieve people of their consequences, or because people are like so hurt that they're trying to rationalize how it's not true. But to like look at her and say like, yo, the rule is bullshit. No, she fucked up.
And she admitted to it.
And then I saw somebody else, another post had said something along the lines of, what did it say? It said, when did black people start saying the rules are the rules? I'm like, we never like outwardly expressed that the rules are the rules. But if you're going to break one, don't get caught. That's how we always.
More like what black people would do.
Yeah, we always, I mean, we'll abide by the rules, but when we decide to break one, we're gonna do our best not to get caught. Because one thing, especially being men and living the world that we live in, and especially if you're worth your salt and want to be anything, you understand consequences. We know that if you break a rule, oh hell, we don't even have to go that far. Going through school, who's suspended more, boys or girls? Boys are.
Some boys, yeah.
Yeah, boys are spending at like an 80% rate compared to girls. 80% to 20%.
That's a lot.
That's
a huge disparity.
Yeah, and so for a long time in our community, boys, even to them, okay, society tells boys that they aren't good enough, and then those boys themselves think that they aren't good enough because they're always getting in trouble. But it kind of just reminded me of how those moms that come into my school, and the black community is the mom, right? So I would say the women in our community, but I did see a couple of dudes also who were saying, mostly those dudes who want to suck up to women, like saying like, oh, let her race, have some compassion. Yeah, I got compassion, but she's still fucked up. But like they're sitting there saying, they're like the mom who their kid gets suspended, and then they're like, well, did he kill anybody? All right, we'll keep him here. Like, no, your son fucked up.
Or like,
And why?
like your son is actually the evil seed, but because you want to turn a blind eye to it, you feel like it's
Right,
acceptable, or we should accept it.
right. And in this case, it's the daughter, and the daughter got caught smoking weed. She got caught with weed in her system. But we want, but and I think this. I won't say I think I know that is the most troubling thing about this whole thing to me. I have no issue with Sha'Carri, what the ruling was and how she handled it. I applaud her, like you said earlier. I applaud her, commend her for how she handled it. Except
Absolutely.
going on the Today Show with that goddamn smoke alarm
Wow. Yeah.
beeping. Other than that, I'm proud. You know, I mean, I'm happy for her. Like, I want to see her do well. I don't want, I don't want to shit on her or anything. But at the same time, what is wrong with these Negroes who want to keep her from suffering consequences? That's one of the things that got our community so fucked up now. Because I can't tell you how many kids of mine, because I work in a what they call a Title I district. A lot of my kids are minorities, Hispanic and Black.
Hmm.
How many kids don't do anything, and then their parents call up to the school caping for them, and then all of a sudden now they're passing. Like,
Well, I
kids
think
are
that,
learning that they don't have to do shit to get by. So
and that's
when we
not
put that
good,
on
you know.
Sha'Carri, so what?
Yeah, and I'm just saying, yeah, that's not good.
No, and when you do things like that, like let's take the Olympics out of it, right?
Hmm.
Let's just say like Sha'Carri was a high school senior, got caught with weed in their system,
Hmm.
or got arrested for like a drug. No, I won't say arrested. Got caught with weed in their system. For a parent to say like my baby still needs to race, it's just weed. Like, no, your daughter broke a fucking rule. It, I think they want to make an exception because like she's special, I guess in a sense. But like you aren't that special. Like there are thousands of. I mean, they had eight
You
people
know
in
who
the
you
Olympic
sound like,
trials.
right? You know who you
Was that?
sound like when you say you're not special, right?
Oh, who? Kevin Samuels?
Yes. And the thing is, at the grand scheme of it, you're right. I mean,
Well, the thing is, it's not even about them being special. It's that these people, it's like they're asking for special privilege, right? When you say like,
yeah,
"Oh, her mom died," so you want there to be a death clause to where she doesn't have to participate in the rules or abide by the rules because her mom passed away. That's dumb. That's
you're
dumb.
right. Because like
Y'all
you
just
said,
trying to tear down.
what will be the sanctions and limitations to that? Because like you said, if with the example you gave with the lifter, you know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
how long do you really have to grieve? And you said that would be tyrannic if they gave you a
Yeah,
time frame to grieve.
yeah. They feel like someone's wrong with it. Like I just I, I think that's again my big this is my biggest issue with this whole topic and black people is that for some reason we mostly and I'm going to say mostly women because the women were the ones who came up with the first excuse like they're just trying to tear down a black woman. That's
That's
not
not
what
true.
this is. That's not what this is.
Ain't got nothing
Oh,
to do with it.
but don't you see all these black women in the news who are get yeah, because those are the ones you pay attention to. Did you hear about the chick who got a 5-year ban after she said a burrito uh made her test positive? Like, no, we don't talk about that because black people make a big deal out of black people.
Yeah,
We don't
they
see it
always
because the
will.
algorithm only shows us what's happening in our community. You don't know what white people are going through or how they deal with their shit.
You really don't. You really just speculating.
Most of our algorithms are black. Like most of our algorithms show black people. Like, what do you expect to happen? But this is not. It's not a racial issue,
Shout out to our white friends. You know what I mean?
right? Shout out to the white boys. This is not. This is not a racial issue. This is not a racial sexist issue. She is. She just so happens to be a black woman, and every time something happens to a just so happens to be black woman, does not mean she was a perfect freaking angel. I don't care how much she cries. She was not an angel, and it just baffles me. Like, I don't know if we talked about it earlier. The chick who had to, I know I talked about it, the chick who had to go get a baby ejection.
What?
She had to she went to get an abortion, and then she went to get an abortion, but then like when it came to the paperwork she had to file, she did some sketchy things with the documents, and then they gave her like a 5-year to a 2-year ban for it. 5-year ban, I think it's a 5-year ban. They banned her for a really long time. For 5-year ban. They banned her for a really long time. She falsified the documents, allegedly, right? So black women are complaining like, oh, she got a 5-year ban. She got an abortion. Like she should have some compassion. Well, did you know that was also her second time fudging with the test? Her first offense happened in like 2017, and not because she fudged with the test, but because she missed 3 tests.
That's just
they gave her a
dodging
chance to
accountability, man. And I think that might be a common thing, a common trait amongst the people that are just saying, just let her race. I think, a good portion of them, I'm saying not all, but a good portion of them, they
not
don't like
all.
to be held accountable either.
No, and that's so crazy. What I think about though is what those people would be like as parents. And a lot of them I see don't even have kids, so I'm kind of glad about it. But I'm like, if you're gonna swoop in and save your child from every time they feel bad about something, your child's growth will be stunted, and you will, especially if it's a boy, you'll have a crippled little boy in your home.
Man, oh man.
Baby boy was that for a reason. Mom enabled that shit.
Jody Joe.
Mom enabled that shit.
That boy Melvin came through, man, put that man in the headlock, licked the top of his head, and smacked that nigga down. Peace, bro.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie.
That movie's so hilarious, bro.
I said I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I actually saw Baby Boy for the first time uncensored when I was like 26. so I only saw the BET version. Let me pop this in.
That, right?
Let me pop this in. Jeff says she took accountability. So what's the issue here? What she did or what other people feel about what she did? In the history, well, first of all, she took accountability. So there's no issue with her taking accountability. The issue that I have personally is with people in our community, the black community, who are trying to relinquish her of her accountability. They're trying to rescue her from her accountability. That's my problem. Because it doesn't bode well for the community at all. Because you raise a bunch of entitled people who think they can do whatever they want without consequence. In history, things like this have happened. True. Michael Phelps got suspended for 90 days. And he missed 6 months. 6 months for a picture. She got arrested. She got suspended 30 days with it in her system, proving that she smoked it. He just took a picture. People that outraged and things. Sorry, people that outraged and things were changed because we all realized what happened was stupid. The issue is whether what she did should still be punishable by today's standards or not. According to the rest of the world, they should be. Because the rest of the world, most of the world, still is illegal to smoke weed, to have marijuana. We keep thinking about this American-centric, we have to keep having this American-centric mindset to where like, oh, we're in America. The rest of the world thinks like this. And that's one thing a lot of people from foreign countries shit on us for. Because we can't think of anything outside of what happens in the United States. But the rest of the world is not for the weed. So when they get to vote on these rules, right, the weed, I need to get that one. So when they vote on these rules, for what athletes can and can't do, if a majority of the countries have it as an illegal substance, it's going to remain an illegal substance. It is what it is. Now, if you want to go to these different countries and try to, do like a Wiz Khalifa Snoop Dogg type ambassador thing, go ahead. But as of now, in today's standards, most countries would still find that as an illegal substance and unacceptable. Again, no issue with what Sha'Carri did. She took her lumps. She held her, she was held accountable. She took her lumps and she accepted it. She's gonna suffer the consequences. That's fine. I just don't like that Black Twitter or Black social media was trying to cape for this girl, trying to rescue her from her consequence. We got too much of that in our community going on right now. Way too much. I'm a teacher. I see this shit every day. Well, when school is in, I see this shit every day. Parents who think that their kids are angels, you call them and tell them their kid did something. They're like, oh, well, maybe he was just hungry and that's why he cursed you out. I don't give a shit. Tell your son to hold his tongue. Your daughter to hold her tongue, because girls have it the worst. Boys just be like this nigga, and then they kind of just go about it that way. But that's my whole issue. Just the accountability portion in our community. I have no issue with what Sha'Carri did. She's fantastic. Mark, your camera went out.
Yeah, I had muted the camera.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Yeah. Sorry, that was a long comment. I had to dissect that a little bit.
No. I was waiting. Yeah. Like I said, in real life, man, people suffer consequences. You know what I'm saying? And if you do the wrong thing, like I said, you just gotta suffer. You know what I mean? That's just life. That's just life.
Yeah. You can't be happy all the time. That's kind of like it's weird to say. It's kind of like not jumps into, but like it kind of goes into like dating a little bit. It's just that people expect to be happy all the fucking time.
Man, that's some fairy tale bull crap, man.
Yeah, and when they're not happy, it's a problem. And now they're like, well, this person, they didn't speak my love language. We didn't work out because his rising sign is in Scorpio and mine is in like Gemini.
And that's bro. Why would you care? Why would you think man? Look, man, I don't care what your zodiac sign is, girl.
Oh, bro, I promise you, I think one of these days in the future, probably within the next couple of weeks, I'm gonna do a show where I talk about, or I'm gonna do a broadcast where I talk about the things that women make up to excuse themselves from relationships. Like this,
oh my goodness,
just
bro.
Stupid shit. Like oh, we didn't. Oh, like I'll tell this story later when I do this again. But I talked to this one girl who. She's in her mid-30s. She got 3 kids. She has 2 kids by one guy, one kid by another guy.
Oh my Lord.
Her 2 kids came from a marriage. And they were married for a long time. They were together since they were teenagers. And she was saying that he took care of home. He did everything he was supposed to do. He he paid all the bills. There was a point in time where she was a stay-at-home mom because he had the ability to, take care of her. When he wanted to go back to school, she took on a job, while he went back to school. And then once he got the job he wanted, he told her she can quit. Did all this good shit, right? She started going to therapy. She started going to therapy somewhere in the marriage, right? And I guess in therapy, she learned about what her love languages were. And so her issue with him became that he did not speak her love language, which was words of affirmation. He never said, I loved you. He never said, I loved you, unless it was like some like argument where he felt like she was about to leave. Right. She tells me that she knows and understands that he came from a home where his dad was hardened and he wasn't really the affectionate type, so he took on after his dad. She told me this.
Mhm.
So she tells him that, and then I asked her, I said, okay, well, how long did you give him to like work on that? She said it was probably 1 year between the time she told him that and the time they got divorced. Now, granted, I think a lot of other stuff might have been happening,
Oh my
but
God.
I told her, I was like, wait a minute, this dude took care of you. He paid all your bills. He paid all your bills, and then he could tell the kids that he loved them,
Mhm.
but he couldn't tell her. So I was like, he paid all your bills. He took care of the kids. The kids love him. Um, you do whatever you do whatever you can for him. He's a great dad, great provider, all this other stuff, and you left him because he could not say I love you. What the fuck do you think he was doing the whole time?
I
I was
mean,
I had to
I
tell her
guess
to.
actions don't speak louder than words of affirmation.
Well, that's the thing. Like people, that's the thing that bothers me so much is that, and this will probably be another conversation for another day. But like, I had this conversation with I had this conversation with a young lady the other day. Like, your love languages are your love languages, and that's how you receive love, how you best receive love. But sometimes you just have to accept the fact that other people give it differently.
You
And
do.
if it still works, then you should probably work on changing your perspective.
You know what, bro?
Because
This relates to me. What you're saying relates to me because that's how it was with me and my mother. And I've been very transparent about this. Now the thing is, so when my mother passed, you know, it was I had a lot of emotions, what I'm saying, those first 2 days.
yeah.
Ironically, the last time I was on your broadcast was right when I had got the call that I had to say
Oh
my
wow.
last goodbye. Yeah. So it was just like, dang, okay. Um and all day before that, up to before I even got on there, and I think I went on there to kind of get my mind off of things or whatever. And it helped. I appreciate that.
Hmm.
It was just that, like I said, my mom was going everywhere. You know what I'm saying? From guilt to self-loathing to, um, like I said, everywhere. But um, our relationship, man, like I said, she had me when she was 29, going on 30, and I just know she loved me so much, man. But
Yeah.
it wasn't the way that we would say it now, in the way you just articulated it in my love language,
Yeah.
or one that I preferred.
Yeah.
Although when I take the quizzes, quality time has always been my primary love language.
Right.
Words of affirmation and physical touch are like always tied. They're always tied for secondary. And maybe the thing that I wanted from her was more words of affirmation, in a sense,
Maybe.
perhaps.
I think.
Um. Mhm.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. I'll let you finish.
Oh, okay. Um. Yeah, I guess that's what I would have wanted. You know, what I'm saying, just for some form of approval, saying that she was more proud, or
Yeah.
for her to tell me she loved me first more, or hug me more, kind of deal. She did these things, but I guess it wasn't at the rate I wanted. I wanted it, I guess. And then
Yeah.
also, I didn't feel like I could confide in her, because
That's a
my
big
mother
one.
was more of a gossiping person. Um,
Yeah. Those are dangerous.
yeah, so it's just like, man, I can't really have these conversations with you, and open up to you and all of these things, and talk to you about real world stuff, and
Yeah.
everything is a gossip thing with you. You know what I'm saying? But the thing
Yeah.
was, man, I could never deny her love for me. And man, I loved her, what I'm saying, when she was
Yeah.
alive, so much, bro. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care what age I was. I don't care if I was 10, 20, or 30. I would just randomly come up to her, kiss her, and hug her. You know what I'm saying? And I
Of
just have
course,
her
you
in my
got to be
arms like for like minutes or whatever, and she'll probably be looking like, "What did I do to deserve this?" And it's just like, man, you
right
my mama, and
for
she
sure.
wasn't. She never did nothing to hurt me intentionally. You know what I'm saying? And but I say all that just to say, about the love language. I relate to that.
Yeah,
However, um, that's still stupid.
yeah. Like
And I say that because like when you take the love language test, your all five love languages, forget all of these made up love languages that people want to come up with. There's five primary love languages that Dr. Gary Chapman had instituted. And we all have all five. It's just that
right,
your primary might not be the one that you receive, but you're still getting it.
right.
You
And I
can't
think
have everything your way.
yeah, and I think that's one of the things that's one of the few things that's keeping women from relationships is like they don't trust men are so untrustworthy to a lot of women that they'll find different ways to rationalize bullshit.
Mm.
And that's one of the ways they rationalize it. Our signs aren't compatible. I knew I shouldn't have been messing with a Virgo, right? Um,
That's the
our signs
dumbest
are
crap I've
compatible,
ever heard, bro.
right? Our signs are compatible. Love languages, we don't have the same love languages. Like I need words of affirmation, and he didn't do that. I'm like, just think about, and this is I have to think about every time somebody
Uh-huh.
says something like that. I have to think about all the relationships I've heard about in the past, and
Uh-huh.
I mean, and you know this too. There's a very
Uh-huh.
common narrative of elderly men in our community, or the men in our communities who weren't affectionate,
Mm-hmm.
and
Absolutely.
they seem to think that it's because they were hardened by society. Where no, that's because those men had to go to work. Their jobs wasn't to love on you and make you feel good. Their job was to take care of you and show you how to survive.
Man, they
But
got
now that
freaking masculine energy, bro.
yeah, I mean
That
that that's
although
the masculine energy a lot of women want out of men, but then they still want us to listen and talk about our
but
day and open
that
up and
goes back to that gender role thing, man. Now
yeah.
the thing is, I learned about masculine and feminine energy when I was 26. I was always aware of it, and I remember even being in the 10th grade. You know what? Nah, I was always hip to it. Because I knew that something like me getting my hair cut. That's a feminine energy thing. Granted, I'm
Hmm.
getting my hair cut and I'm looking like a man. It's a feminine thing because I care about my appearance, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, we all have these things, but and there's nothing wrong with a man being affectionate and empathetic. However, if he is not, dog, don't try to change him.
Yeah, and I think that's what a lot of people do, and then they're like, "Well, I can't change them, so it must not be right for me." No, you just and I had to have this conversation a couple weeks ago with this young lady who I had to stop dating because she called me on some like I told her like I'm not a phone call person. I'm easier to text. She's a phone call person. Perfectly fine. But like within a week of us talking, she was already like "Oh, like I'm not used to this and you haven't called me once." And I'm like, "Well, I told you I'm not a call person, so it's going to take me some time to work up to it. But I'm not used to this and you making me feel like, look, I am a completely different person than you. You want to date me or do you want to date you?" That's what I asked her. I was like, "You want to date me or you want to date you?" Because me, it's going to take me a minute. I was like, "I might not call you like, every day, but like I'll pick up the phone once, twice a week. Like I was like, that's a
But that's
lot for
some
me."
bull crap, bro. Because the thing is, you
They don't
you
want to meet in
stated
the
this
middle.
from the jump.
I did.
Yeah, you
Absolutely I
stated this
did.
from the jump, and that's commendable because, I'd rather a person keep it a whole buck with me. That's how come I like being direct with women. And I had a
Right.
conversation with my homegirl when I was at the gym. This was on Friday. No, it wasn't yesterday. Shit, it
Was
might
it a
have been
black woman?
yesterday. Oh yeah, it was.
Oh, okay. Black woman in the gym. Shout out to
No,
you.
well, no. She called me when I was in the gym.
Oh,
She's all the way down there in
my bad.
Tennessee. Nah, she was all the way in Tennessee. We were talking about being direct. So I'm
Mhm.
quite sure you've had these kind of interactions where a woman would say she like a man being direct, and then when you as a man are direct, they can't handle you being direct.
I'm sorry. Say that one more time.
So let's say a woman says she like a man that's direct, right?
Yeah.
You know, saying straight to the point. Once you as a man are direct and straight to the point, then they act like they can't handle it.
Oh no, I've been there before.
I, I'm
I've I've
I'm sure you have.
I've been in situations before where I think I talked about this before. One woman told me that I made her feel too feminine. Yeah, I know, right? Another one actually a couple of times, especially in my younger years. I would hear from women that they feel like they have to be better than what they are when they're with me.
That sounds like
Yeah.
a personal problem, man.
Oh, it was a few times. Uh,
It sounds like a
one
personal
chick,
issue, my baby.
yeah, it was one chick that I dated when I was like 24, 25. She hit me up a couple of weeks ago actually, and she like kind of apologized to me and just said that wherever she was in her life at the time we were dating, she couldn't handle me. Like I was too good for her. And I'm like, wow, y'all really like will self sabotage this shit for what? And it's just
Right.
because they don't really know and understand good things when they see it. I mean, there's a reason why. I was going to ask the question on my Facebook page earlier. Like, I haven't decided if I want to. I have to figure out a way to ask these things. But like, how many single moms on my friends list have baby daddies who have multiple baby mamas?
Hmm.
Like they don't really know and understand good when they see it, and by the time they do understand it, it's usually too late because I hate to say it, sometimes just sometimes single moms get a bad, get the short end of the stick,
I mean,
and
it's
then
like
you don't usually get a man who's better than your baby daddy.
not typically. I mean, of course it can happen.
Yeah, it can happen. Oh, that's one thing. I don't know if I'll make a show about this or a status, but like I
Mhm.
listen to Fresh and Fit podcast, and Myron always says women act on a bounds of possibility, men act on a bounds of probability. Women act
Hmm.
on what's possible, men act on what's more likely to happen.
I mean, that goes back to what I said earlier. Men see the world and women feel the world.
Yep.
Um, that just adds to that notion. But I mean, at different age, as we get older, even as men, you know what I'm saying, our needs change, our desires change, and what we look for in a woman changes
Mm,
based upon a experience. So,
right.
for women, what I'm saying, especially when they're younger, man, it's all about, the aesthetics, man. How does this dude look, and what does he exude? The best thing that you can have, though, in the world, from my experience, is sex appeal. I don't give a shit. I don't care anything, man.
Yeah,
And the great thing about sex appeal is,
it helps a lot.
yeah, you don't have to look like no model that has sex appeal, especially
Nope.
as a man. Especially as a man. But I mean, it works both ways. But especially as a man, you really don't.
Yeah,
You
you
really
ain't gotta be
don't.
no model for that.
Heck, no, man. You just got to work on yourself and just kind of, know who you are. But
All right,
who's the
let's see.
industry?
I'm about to say Jeff left a pretty long comment. Who is the industry? The government or the people? Governments force their own views on what's okay. The industry I speak of is people. Actually, we are the majority, not the governments. Well, in the government that we have, we elect the people to represent us. And if somebody represents an idea you don't like, you don't vote for them. That's pretty much what it is. The issue is with most people anyway, is especially in urban communities, is that we think that everybody in the world lives in an urban community. One thing I took a trip from Michigan back to Houston, but I took the long way through like Illinois. Once you got past Chicago, through Illinois, through parts of Missouri, through parts of Arkansas, you realize there is nobody around here. So you can actually understand why people have conservative views. They don't live in urban environments. People all over the world smoke weed or want to, but are controlled by what their government tells them is legal or illegal. In the United States, they did a Gallup poll, and I just looked this up. And this is on Gallup's website. Only 12% of Americans said they smoke weed.
I find that surprising.
Only 12% of adults.
Of Americans?
12% of let's see.
So why people lying on these surveys, bro? I'm befuddled.
Well, the thing is, in July 2019, Gallup polled 12% of U.S. adults said they smoked marijuana, a percentage that is essentially unchanged since 2015. Now, if the numbers changed, I might say people were lying, but they stayed the same.
Wow.
I mean, of course, in the black community, in the black community, it's a little different, I think, because we see it so much.
Yeah,
but there are a lot of people who don't. Men are more likely to smoke weed than women. Men 15%, women 9%. At 22%, 18 to 29-year-olds are more likely the age group to smoke. Yeah, we also forget that there are like old people they throw into the surveys too. So at our age, yeah, it's more likely. But liberals are 6 times more likely to smoke than conservatives. Yeah. So the majority of the world doesn't smoke, or people all around the world do. It's just not in this exorbitant numbers. It's not like 60% of the world smokes weed, so now it should be legal. It's probably, honestly, if we were to think about the countries where it's legalized or decriminalized, I'd probably say it's less than 15% of the world smokes. Probably the same as America. So
that's surprising. I guess that's surprising.
No different than the United States making weed illegal until they found a way to make money from it. It wasn't the people that thought it should be illegal. It was and I'm pretty sure it was something else after that. No, it wasn't the people actually the people thought it would be illegal too. That's the whole reason Reefer Madness kind of blew up, that movie in the early 1900s. People supported the war on drugs. People supported Nixon and all these other people because they really thought marijuana was this demon seed that came to ravish the world. Like, we're at a place now where we've accepted it more, but there are still people who feel like it's a bad thing. Like, you can't dismiss that just because you think it's okay. The rest of the world, it's illegal. You can't say that they should get on our shit. It's not gonna happen. We don't run the world like we think we do. Black people, maybe. Black people have a power with the world that we don't acknowledge, but it is what it is.
I mean, across the world, yes, and politically, I don't know, man. We don't really tap into it, man.
No, we don't have. I mean, we don't have the power we think we have. It's ridiculous to think we do.
Right. Well, yeah. You're saying what I'm thinking presidency. Now. Yeah,
What's
you're
that?
saying what I'm thinking. Yeah. No. Yeah, we don't have the power. No. Right.
No. Especially, I mean, if we want to talk America, especially after a Trump presidency, man, nah. We gotta recover those relationships, and we gotta prove to the world. I guess this is respectability politics. We gotta prove to the world that we got some damn sense about ourselves.
Man, dog. I don't care if I'm wearing a certain tie with a dang tie bar, smelling like $1 million, bro. They still look at me as a nigga.
For sure. Absolutely. All right, we're almost at the 2-hour mark, man. You got anything else for the people?
I don't, man. I think he pretty much covered um a lot of stuff I wanted to talk about, which was just although it's unfortunate, you know what I'm saying, for what she was going through or went through. In the grand scheme of things, her penalization is very lenient. The most
Yeah,
lenient based upon what you had read across. Um, so it's not bad. And but still thing is she broke the rules. So and she admitted to it. And if she admits to it, then what can we really argue against it? There's nothing we
right.
could say.
Yeah,
Rules are there to not be broken, and if you break them, then you gotta serve the time. That's just that simple.
yeah.
Um, I do want to talk. Well, maybe in a future video, or if it's still a thing at that point. I just find it funny how when she talks about Little Nas X, what I'm saying, how people,
Oh, that.
at least on
Yeah.
my status, I don't know, I didn't read the original comments or whatever, but so many people were just quick to say, it's sad that she's speaking with so much hatred, and I'm like, how do you know this? Like, you don't know the context behind why she feels that way. Like, you're deflecting and you're making assumptions. That's not right. And
No, it's not.
okay, even if that was the case, why does she have to support Lil Nas X? Maybe she just doesn't like his music. Maybe she doesn't like the fact that he's displaying public displays of affection with another man when it's children that could be easily influenced by this. Like, you don't
I say
know,
maybe it's the devil imagery that isn't shitting on the devil necessarily. You know what I mean? Well, I mean, unless he
right?
was into that, but
And what's and and if she does support it, then okay, that's her prerogative. But if she doesn't, why is she obligated to? Especially being
right.
that she's of the LGBT community herself. So I just
Let's
found
say
that to
people don't
be
ask questions.
I just found that to be very odd. And like I said before, it's the duality, the duplicity, if I'm using these words correctly in this context of people wanting to come to the aid of a homosexual black man, but then when you have a man like Kevin Samuels, they are quick to bash him and call him gay in a negative
Right.
context.
It's then a derogatory term.
Exactly,
It's
but
it's a
but that
derogatory
is
term when you don't say when you
very,
don't like somebody.
but that's hypocritical. And but these
It
same
is
people will use these terms, what I'm saying, and it's just
to
like,
hate on, bash. Yeah,
and it's just
it
like,
is.
okay, if she should support him, then y'all should support everything that Kevin Samuels says since he's gay to him.
Right. I thought black women love gay men.
They do until, what I'm saying, he's actually straight and they just want to bash him. But
Yeah.
regardless of which,
Then
what I'm saying, no, that's all, I
then
wanted to
gay is
say,
a
man.
problem. Yeah, it's gay.
I mean,
But
there's no logic there, man. It is what it
no, it's
is.
not. Which is why
No
which is
structure.
I just try to, I try to calm down and try to find a point where I can say, okay, you just don't want to listen anymore. I'm getting better at it though. I'm trying.
I
It's just
mean,
really interesting to see how people think. You know what I mean? Like
it is, man. I don't know
just
why, but it
just
is.
like wow, you really think that this is okay? Like like you really think that she shouldn't have to run even though she broke the rule. I mean, she should run, but even though she broke a rule, that's nuts to me. Steve, did you see the runner Shelby Houlihan who got sanctioned for steroids?
You mentioned that, didn't
Yeah,
you?
yeah, I did mention that she told the agency that she tested positive for a substance that they do say is illegally injected into some meats, but this was also, I think, her second time uh involved in a doping situation. So the thing is, like, people get involved in these situations and they want to cry out like, "Oh, it's sexism. Oh, she's a woman." Like when it's her like third offense, it makes no sense to me.
Man, listen,
Stupid.
listen, man. All I
I'm
got to
trying
say
to
is,
stop trying to make sense of this shit.
man, I've been stopped doing it, man, because people create their own narratives and they neglect now logic, man. Like I said, bro.
Right.
I don't know. If you support, if you listen to R. Kelly, or if you watch the Cosby Show, you're a rape apologist, I guess. And it's just like, dog. I had attachments to these things before cancel culture was a thing. I don't
Right.
have to. That doesn't mean that that I like what they did. I
Yeah.
still find entertainment in his music, or I still find entertainment in
Yeah.
watching this show that I grew up on because I had an attachment to it.
Oh no. So this is gonna go in a bit of overtime. So the whole I hope that I don't want to make this conversation too long, but I know it kind of is. But the whole Cosby thing is very interesting to me because while I mean in the civil trial, he was found to be, he did what he did.
Hmm.
The DA
Guilty.
messed it up, he got released or whatever. And then I asked on a post, I don't know if you saw it or not, but like I asked on a post, like, okay, so was Bill Cosby going to jail a attack on black masculinity? Because Sha'Carri Washington being suspended for 30 days for smoking weed is an attack on black women. Is Bill Cosby going to jail for drugging women and having sex with them an attack on black masculinity?
No, because he's a black man, and anything that
Yeah,
happens against black men doesn't count.
that's kind of exactly why I laid it out there because I knew that was the answer I was going to get. So I didn't get that many. I only got a couple responses, but the one I did get from a woman just basically said like, no, he should be held accountable for his actions. Like, oh, okay, so the rules don't apply when it's a black woman. All right. So Sha'Carri Washington needs to be able to run, and it's a stupid rule. Well, what if I felt like, and I don't condone this, but what if I felt like what Bill Cosby did? It's a stupid law. Or just the fact that a lot of people, they see pictures of those women and they're like, there's no way in hell that he had to drug them. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, dog, he's Bill
where does it
Cosby, bro, and he
where does
shouldn't.
it end?
A lot of them women, he probably didn't drug. A lot of them, but I'm quite sure he did drug. I mean, because he admitted to it, obviously.
Right.
But a lot of them, man, he didn't have to drug, man. He got the status, bro.
Right. He had the status, but I don't know, man. For me, I really just want to see a more accountable community, but I know that's going to be hard because we have, and this is not just me speaking from anecdotal experience, but I've seen several mothers who have a difficult time with disciplining their children, and they may like whoop them for the moment, but then I'll see them like later on in the day, like getting their kids like ice cream or buying them a new toy or something.
You're
Um,
rewarding and enabling bad behavior.
yeah,
Get the hell out of here.
I have an aunt who I really don't care for. She did something like that with my cousin. Long story short, I just remember that he was a fuck up in school, and almost every report card when he came back with like D's and F's, she would take him to the mall and he would get like a new video game or new clothes or a new bike or something, just something to keep him from feeling bad. And to this day, like he still live with his mom, spoiled, and don't know how to take care of himself. And that's the kind of shit that they put in the community, and they wonder why they have a hard time getting their sons out of the house, or why their daughters are so wild. It's because you didn't put any restrictions on them, and that's really just the dad's job. But you don't want him around, so you take what you got.
No gender roles, remember?
Yeah, it's no gender roles. You the mom and the dad. Happy Father's Day and Mother's Day, or
Man, dog,
happy Father's Day to you, single mom.
that's the most bullcrap thing in the world. And like I said, man, if I ever seen,
Wait, did you freeze? I think you froze. So I think you were saying something in the middle of that. Said if I ever seen, and then it stopped.
oh no, what I was saying was, I hate when women do that on Father's Day to discredit men.
Oh
And
yeah,
if
no,
and if there was
that's
ever a
trash.
man, if there was ever a man that did that, man, on Mother's Day, dog, Man, he can go to hell,
Yeah.
man.
Because apparently women can do everything and men can only do one thing. Women can be man and woman, despite the fact that they only have female chromosomes. They can be men and women, and men can only be men, which is really how we behave. Because women, what they say on the podcast, Fresh and Fit, women can be the roles of women are always dynamic, and the roles of men are always static. Women can be masculine when it suits them, and feminine when it suits them. Men can only always be masculine.
That's not true.
I mean, to what regard though? I mean, this is
Um, well, I guess is it more or less like how we display our energy, or because I mean, number one, you know, men. The reason why women have to be in their masculine anyways, because a lot of times men are not in theirs, and they're in their feminine. So,
well,
uh,
the men are usually not even. Well, the men are not. Yeah, we could go way back in history for why that is. But a
yeah,
lot of times women want to take on the masculine role anyway because they know they can, and because their fear and anxiety is up so high that they want to have the control over things. But I mean, just
via
in the sense of
manipulation.
relationships anyway, like the man is always expected to be masculine. Like I think one of the things that they talk about too on the podcast is that a man shouldn't discuss his issues with his woman because the minute she gets whiff that things are shaky, then she's gonna start looking around for a way out. Like, and she's not gonna try to like really help you for real. So if you complain to your woman, you need to come up have a solution when you complain.
I mean, I've just been against that, man, for some time, man. Nah, just don't confide to your woman about, any personal like weaknesses or things
Yeah,
like that, man. That's just not something that I do, man. And they can say that they won't use that against you at all they want to, man, but it happened to me time and time again, one way or another.
yeah. But
Um,
like, but just to their point though, like a woman can like flip flop between, and it's expected that it's supposed to be okay. Whereas if a man is like in his feminine, like I like the example he uses sometimes where he's like, if if I saw he because they always have girls on the show, and Myron the host he used examples of like if I saw you at the bar and I walk up to you and said, "Oh my God, you're so pretty. I love your shoes. Where'd you get your shoes? I love your makeup. Oh my God, it's so cute." Blah blah blah, like real effeminate. And he asked him, he's like, "What would you think of me?" And she was like, "I would think you were gay, and I'd probably walk away from you." And he was like, "Yeah, that's how men feel when you come up to them talking about your degrees and things that don't matter, like or things that you had to achieve. You sound very masculine when you do those things." And then it makes them sit and be like, "Oh, okay." But we're
I
supposed to
mean,
accept that.
the way I look at that, man. Hold on. So, but what you're saying is, okay, if a man came up to a woman and just was talking about random stuff about,
Did you freeze again? It looked like it because I got this one ugly eye. All right, you're back.
yeah, because your what's the name was frozen too. Uh,
Oh shoot.
but I still hear you though, so it don't matter.
Right.
No. So what you're saying that if a man, if a man just walks up to a woman and he's, being very complimentary and that in the way that you just,
Compliment.
yeah, if I use that word right, right.
Right.
That's equivalent to a woman talking about her degrees.
Yeah. So, or like, he asked a question too. He said, for a woman to talk about her degrees, her job, and her career, he's like, how would you feel if I walked up to you, or if we were talking, and all of a sudden I just started telling you about my Jordan collection, and they're like, I wouldn't care. He's like, that's how men feel about your degrees and your career.
I mean, real talk, because number one, that because that takes masculine energy to achieve that. Masculine
Yeah,
energy is about accomplishments, achievement, breaking barriers, and being fearless and these things, right? That's
right.
not feminine. Um,
No.
but that's why I'm an advocate for being direct, man, because a lot of this stuff, man, that men talk to women about, man, they don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro,
Yeah.
that's how come I'm
I,
like, bro, in the first 10 to 15, like 10 minutes of having a conversation with this woman, regardless of what your intent is, if you want a long term relationship or if you just want to hook up with this particular woman, you need to be able to know what exactly if you have any sexual access to this woman. Because
mm,
I'll be damned if I deal with another manipulative time waster,
yeah.
and I'll be damned, bro. I
Yeah.
had to block this girl, man, because bro, I don't know, that's another topic for the.
I've actually, yeah, I was gonna say I've actually had to, I actually stopped chicks in the middle of talking and just told them like, look, I'm not listening anymore. So can you, like, because I don't want to be rude, but like I also am a horrible liar. So
Man,
you
forget
gotta.
being rude, bro. Like, it is what
That's
it
what I'm saying.
is, bro.
I choose. I'm about to say I choose the honest route. I just
Every
tell you. I
time,
just tell the
man.
chick flat out, like, look, I listen. I stopped listening to you like 5-10 minutes ago. I really don't care about whatever you talking. Not even not care about, but like whatever you're talking about right now is nothing of interest
Man,
to
I
me,
say
and you've
how I
been going on
feel,
for too
bro.
long. But
I say what I'm really thinking. If I'm really thinking about, I don't mind, engaging in, a little bit of non-sexual, dialogue or a little bit of small talk to a small degree. But at the
right.
same time, I just want to get to the point. Like, look, this is why I'm talking to you. Are we able to, move forward or not? You know what I'm saying? Because there's no really point. It was a post on Facebook that
Mm-hmm.
says something to the degree, and I'll share it in our group. It says
Yeah. Yeah.
something like normalize basically normalize befriending women non-sexually or something like that, basically. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Okay.
dog, no. Like,
No.
if it's not about business, or if I don't work with this woman, or in some cases, if like she's like I would say like a ex girlfriend of my homeboy, and he did not give me the consent to go after her, then
Right.
bro, I don't. Why do I need to befriend her?
I
I'm
don't.
30 years old, bro. Unless this woman is going, like I said, going to be a part of my business, or she's a coworker, or she's an ex, or a current girlfriend of one of my boys or whatever, bro. And if I'm attracted to her, man, she free game, bro. As long as she not married. I mean,
Well, I
yeah,
think
yeah.
they just want, women want the what Patrice O'Neill said. Women want to give up a lot of time without giving up pussy. That's kind of
Mm-hmm.
what the friend zone is. So they just want all your time. They just want all your attention. They want you to be one of those guys who doesn't let their female friends pay for anything, and they want you to not want to have sex with them, which is a very very interesting thing. But that's just the world we live in. We're about 2 hours and 15 minutes into this, so I'm ready to get ready to wrap up real quick
No, for sure, man. Cause
on this.
that's a whole nother topic, man. That
For sure, we can go at this all night, bro.
yeah.
Um,
And I love
I
that topic, man. I tell you, bro. Like I said, no free attention, bro.
no free
None.
attention. But all right, man. I do appreciate you coming on and
Man, I
your input.
appreciate the invite, man.
No problem, man. Always. All right.
Well, till next time, my brother.
All right then. Peace. All right. So that was Mark. Thank you to Mark for coming on the show. Somebody who lost his mother around the same time as Sha'Carri, but still, he said, like, you wanted to participate in this thing, you need to follow by the rules. Life happens for everybody, you know, and if we make exceptions for everybody else, then, you know, where does that lead to? You know, I got nothing else on that topic. I do feel sorry for Sha'Carri as much as I can, you know, because she still decided to do it herself. Add me on, excuse me. Had to turn the air off. Add Waffle Talk Ronnie on YouTube. All right. Like, share, subscribe, donate to the page. Waffle Talk Waffle underscore talk on Instagram. Cashapp $R Cleveland 30. Get the likes up, get the likes up, get the likes up. Like, share, subscribe, and donate. This is Waffle Talk. This is a place where men can talk like men about the things men care about. I love you guys. Thanks for showing up. Hopefully you'll see more from me down the road. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. All right. Until next time, peace.